Oop, hi, and welcome to Hangout 143. It is December 9th, 2015.
Mhm.
And we missed last week. All of you guys were off having fun and then recovering on Wednesday. Let's jump right in and you guys talk about how was Android TO?
Yeah, pretty had a pretty good time. We had some interesting some interesting talks, and yeah.
So I saw lots of pictures of you guys sitting together. So did you attend mostly the same talks or split up at all?
In the
Yeah, we all.
afternoon,
I think we say we did them all, except the ones in the afternoon. We kind of started fading a little bit for. I think I skipped out a couple of them, and then Sivan, you went to the mirror one, and I went to the 3D one. So, but for the most part, yeah, all the main keynote speeches were all together for us. So interesting times. No, it was really cool to see again. This one, I mean, of the past ones we've been to, because I'm not a coder, I'm not a programmer, I've been able to sit back and go, okay, I still get this. I still understand why they're talking about this. This one definitely was for the coders. It was definitely talking about tools you would use specifically. Um, Again, I think I would like to have seen a little more of showcase of what's really possible instead of the theoretical, like really show off. Here's this way, like near the end, the guy from Bean Ocean's talking about the Second Cup app and how he actually showed the fluid dynamic things. Like that was pretty cool, and showing the tricks of the trade of how he got it to work on that thing. That was pretty neat. I mean, the Google platform Spin, I think it was called Spin Cloud. The
The Google Cloud, yeah, the cloud
Cloud Spin,
platform.
yeah, Cloud Spin. So that was kind of neat. Again, talking about stuff like that. So I know Martin and I we wrote a recap of some of the things that we liked about the different talks that were there, but yeah, it was very interesting. I was upset this year that there wasn't as much booths around, so we could actually go and talk to people and see their apps and see what they're doing or whatever. I really, the past few years, there's been a lot of booths. This one there was like two, three, four, five, six, if there's six booths.
So what do you think, Martin?
pretty much Ryan touched all the points I wanted to highlight. It was definitely developer minded, so a lot of coding, a lot of examples, a lot of showing people the different ways of integrating stuff with their applications and whatnot. And for previous years, because now this would be my third year, the first time I showed up, there was a lot more booths, like Ryan was saying, a lot more options on featuring new games, new apps, and a lot more interaction with the vendors and whatnot. And there was a lot more brought up for people to just look at, test, play with, and whatnot. And this
So do
was
you
missing.
think this might be just an indication that Android is now mature and they really do need to show, like, there's so much more that you can do within the OS that they just really need to focus on getting developers to use those tools properly?
See, I don't know because there was a discussion because in the past years the key sponsor of the program has been Rogers. Rogers from day one has really stepped in when back in the days when it was Mark and Helene pulling this event together to say they actually had these they had Sony there, they had Rogers there, they had a bunch of these different companies there. I mean, the guy from was it Vinylmation or whatever, like the two judges and whatnots.
Yep.
He wasn't there. Again, so, but this year, what happened is Google stepped in and made it part of their Google Dev Summit series, the GDG Summits or whatever they call them. So when that happened,
Technical.
you definitely are going to step into more technical. And plus, what I thought was probably the thing that they downplayed the most when they mentioned was the Google developer relationship guy was announced for Canada. Apparently, Canada's never had a Google developer relationship manager. So basically, if you're a developer making Android apps or Google apps or anything, and you need help with something, there was nobody in really Canada that would help you out. Now there's a specific Canadian guy that does that. So it was interesting that was kind of thrown in at the last minute. Nobody really talked about it. But when I came back to Thunder Bay and talking to some programmers, and they were very excited about, oh, that's that's cool. I actually give you guys contact name. You know, the university wants to touch base with them. The college wants to touch base with them. You know, so. But again, it was cool. Definitely programmer, but I think there's space in the market if we had an event just for the enthusiasts. You know, just to
More like a trade show type thing.
A trade show kind of thing. You know, let's see these kind of cool things, almost like a con of some sort.
A con would be all right. I actually would kind of like that. I'm getting to the age that I could actually I could have time to do the con.
I think Sivan has a comment.
Yeah, just to also say that it's definitely geared for developers, and but all the events that I've been to lately are more about development and less about Android enthusiasts. It's a trend that I see in the last year or two. And yes, it's because Android is more popular now. It's more mature. It's less, it's more common now. That it's less special, and that we had to keep a small community to communicate and try to understand it more. So it's also easier now. Everything works great. You don't need to do all the things we used to do in the past to try to make it work better and to tweak it, and everything is just very smooth and very easy. So, but for me it was very interesting. I always like to understand how things work, and especially the 360 video kind of GIF that they made, and they put all the cameras. I posted about it on Google Plus. They showed how they did it, and how they explained how all the cameras are synced, and how the Google Cloud works, the cloud services. So for me it was very interesting to understand, even though I'm not a developer, just to understand how these things really work. And also, like the other keynotes, the opening session, and the last session were also very interesting in general, not only for Android developers. So I really enjoyed it, and I learned a lot.
It's kind of nice to know the direction things are going. And I think whether you're a developer or not, when you go to these events, that's what you sort of find out. So, well, let's move on. Martin has a bunch of topics here. Facebook security.
Yeah, there's a few things that's been popping up, especially with Facebook. Is now you may notice if you open the application, Facebook is doing a security checkup. So they're going to be doing three things. They're going to examine your password and suggest to change it if it's not strong enough. It will also check to see from where you're logging from. So if there's an unfamiliar location, suspicious location, it will inform you. And third, it will give you an option to actually remotely log those connections off so they can't log back on. So Facebook is bringing the security because we've seen in the past a lot of people have noticed that these accounts get compromised very easily and whatnot, and then next thing you know, a whole bunch of garbage is being posted. But it would also be a good thing to remind people that they can still also use two-factor authentication for their Facebook as well, which would actually help if they actually enable that.
Okay, and keeping with security and safety, Chrome has safe browsing now?
Yep, Chrome, the latest version that was released, actually now includes safe browsing, which we've already seen on the desktop if you've been using Chrome, which it will actually notify you that this website might be unsafe, or it will just plainly block the website if there's malicious content that's been detected, reported, and whatnot. So now it's good to see that we actually have that on the mobile version now for Android devices.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. Kind of nice, definitely. Sometimes kind of annoying, but
it's funny. I just saw it myself the other day. Because if I want to access the Wi-Fi, I have to do it through Linksys or whatever that do it. And Chrome on my desktop, Chrome always comes up saying, you sure you want to go to this website? Just redirecting you. And it's funny, I did it on my phone the other day, and actually it did the same thing. I was like, I don't remember ever doing that before. So.
Well, that's new.
Yep, just keeping you safe.
Exactly.
And some changes ahead at Dropbox.
Yeah, Dropbox is having some fun time. I mean, from the looks of it, they've announced that Mailbox and Carousel are going to be dropped off. Unfortunately, like they were saying, is that they didn't get the trendiest pickup that they wanted to move forward with that. So they were hoping it would be carried on towards business more for the business aspect of it to actually go in and use more of the applications and whatnot, but didn't get the traction they wanted for. So after about, I'd say we're looking at about a year and a half to 2 years now, they're deciding to drop those two applications.
I think it's hard to break into the business side now. Like big corporations are being a lot more secure than they used to be.
And the problem with that is, if you go into a lot of those businesses around or large corporations and whatnot, a lot of them you can't even use cloud.
No,
Dropbox
I
won't
can't
work,
use
Box
cloud at
won't
work.
work,
It's
Drive. I'm even
really
surprised I can
annoying.
access Drive, but a lot of these corporations just block a lot of the services, and it's very unfortunate because some of these services are actually pretty solid and pretty secure for what you want to do with.
Yeah, like at work, I can't access
Mm-hmm.
Drive. I can't access any of those unless I get special permission. And really, not going to ask.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah. What were you going to say, Ryan?
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, Mailbox was a little bit weird just because you want to use a Dropbox app to get your Gmail because it was only I think it wasn't for all email inboxes, right? It wasn't all Exchange or POP or MyMap. It was Gmail and I think one other one at the time.
Yeah, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, Microsoft, and I think that was it.
So people, I think, myself, I was like, well, why would I need to go through Mailbox? Why do I need to filter on my Gmail through through Dropbox stuff? I know personally, I don't know anybody besides you, Martin, who used that. And Carousel was like, well, I already have, it's already backing my photos up. They're already in there, so I don't really need to have another photo viewing sharing app that's Dropbox already. I already have a Dropbox that has my photos in there. So it seemed like it was sort of a redundant thing from the get-go, and they had an uphill battle to fight. So it's too bad. I mean, I hate to see any app die away, but I mean, obviously, if there's nobody using it, there's nobody using it.
Why use your resources on that?
Yeah.
That's pretty much
So,
it.
and then the last thing, the Zen Watch 2 is now available at Best Buy.
Yep, definitely.
Oh, that's great.
Best Buy is now selling it for $229.99 Canadian. So you can
Which
go and
size?
pick it up. BestBuy.ca.
No, which size of the watch? They have the smaller one and they have the bigger one.
Actually, give me a second. I'll let you know in a minute here. The 1.63.
So that's the smaller one or the bigger one?
Bigger one.
Bigger one.
The bigger one. The one was
Do
1.44.
they have the smaller one?
They're only advertising the 1.63.
Okay.
So yeah, no, that's the only 1.63 they have available on their site right now. But price-wise,
Never know.
$229.99 though, which is a nice price.
Yes.
Which is actually cheaper than the Moto 360 second gen.
Yeah, but the Zen Watch, the first gen Zen Watch, was well priced as well.
Yep,
Yes,
they-
$199 US.
Yeah, so
It
this is
was.
staying in that same.
It's a great price for a great watch. I'm still very happy with the first gen, so there's no reason for me to upgrade unless I get the smaller one because this one is kind of big. So the only reason to upgrade for me would be to get a smaller one.
Well, that's what I did. I made a recommendation today for somebody to go get themselves the Zen Watch 2. And I'm like, you know what? If you can find the Zen Watch, the first generation, go and buy it. And
There's
if you
not much
can't, just go for the Zen 2.
But
the
it's
Zen
not
Watch
even
2.
worth it because the new one is the same price.
Same price, almost same technology, and the OS
Yeah.
hasn't changed either.
So far,
But now it has Wi-Fi. The
Well.
first gen didn't have Wi-Fi. This one has Wi-Fi. And so same specs plus Wi-Fi for the same price. So why not just get a new one?
Yes, if
Yes,
you're going to
exactly.
get one of them for the first
And
time.
the smaller
absolutely.
one is only $129 US. I don't know how much it is in Canadian if it's available here, but it's a great price for a really, really great watch. I
That
don't
is a
know how
great
people
price.
can even think twice. For that price, you get a watch that looks great and functional. I don't
Exactly.
know. There's no reason not to get it, in my opinion.
Which is going to lead us into Cass's topic.
Yes, well, I decided to get a Gear S2.
Nice.
So it was my birthday, and we went into the city, and I went to a Samsung Experience store, and I did a review, and I just want to say, if you have a chance to buy stuff from an actual brand store, do it, because the experience is just so totally different, except if you go to a Sony store. But the difference is so totally different. You walk into a Samsung store, just like an Apple store, or I'm sure the Motorola store, and people are there, they're knowledgeable, and they don't hard sell you. They just sell you by being enthusiastic and knowledgeable. So
Yeah, not like at Best Buy that they barely know what watches they have, what it is, what the difference between the watches.
exactly. So
Yeah, 100%.
that was nice. And when I asked the guy about it, I said, do you have one I can try? Because they're always anchored down. He said, oh, just wear mine. So, I got to put it on and play with it a little bit. And
then she ran out the store.
No. And then I gave it back and I said, well, I'm just going to go walk down the mall.
So why did you decide on that one?
Well, a couple things. I have an S6. I really do like Samsung products. The other thing is, once I saw the build quality on this, and I was wearing my Moto 360, it looks like a premium watch. It feels like a premium watch. The buttons press like a premium watch. So, from that point of view, and it's a bit smaller. I don't know if you can see that.
No, it's decent.
It's a smaller watch, plus, and nice work, so Samsung, they actually put a second watch band in there so that you can go, it comes with the large by default. You just take the second half off, and I don't have this humongous tail of leather hanging off, which is, like the Zen watch, there's a little push to the side, so it's easy to detach.
Oh, I love that.
It does take a standard 20 millimeter band.
That's great.
So, and then I had asked about, of course it's not Android Wear, and because it's not the LTE, it doesn't have a speaker, but the stuff that you want it to do on your wrist, it does on your wrist.
Yeah.
And
so it's so you're limited to the apps that they offer, Samsung.
Some of the apps they offer, but they do all the notifications.
Right.
It's just that the only ones you can respond back on are BBM, the phone, and messages, and I'm sure WhatsApp and stuff like that. But for Hangouts, I'll get a notification. I can read it, but if I really want to interact, I go back to the phone.
Well, and the Gear SDK is out there for app developers to
absolutely
make their app compatible with the Gear S2 if they so desire. So it's not a matter of they have to go and develop a separate app, or they have to. It's kind of like Android Wear. They can just build that portion into the app there too. So
okay.
So what were you gonna say, Martin?
Which is probably what's going to happen. I mean, developers know that Samsung owns a big chunk of the market, so more than likely we will see a lot of the application being updated to support the gears from Samsung.
Well, and also this one does work with other Android watches, and rumor has it, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if this rumor is true, but they're also working on making it hook into iPhones, which just opens up a huge market. This is a really nice watch. Yeah. It's round. It's what people want. Like, people want round watches.
So are you selling
people want the option of round or rectangular. So, if they can get this to hook in to the Apple then they don't have to make any changes.
Quite true.
They have the SDK there. You just add that in, and whole new revenue stream. But anyways,
enjoy.
I do really like it, and you know what? I'm happy with something just that little bit smaller. So moving on from my gushing review, let's talk about some of the new stuff Google has out. Ryan, you wanted the Pixel C and missed
I
your chance.
Well, yeah, I missed my chance, but I didn't really have $1,000 to blow either. It wasn't my birthday for me to go and spend my money. But the Pixel C, if you remember seeing this at the Google I/O, they talked about it. So this is the big new tablet they have. It was very interesting for them to call it a Pixel because a Pixel is what they call their Chrome OS devices, or like their Nexus Chrome OS devices, right? So this was a Pixel, but it's not a but it's an Android device. So it's their first real hybrid because it has that really cool keyboard, but the keyboard's an extra $200. But I love that idea, that the magnet thing on the keyboard and it flips up, and to me I thought this is just the marriage of exactly what I want out of a device. The only one that came ever close to that was that Dell Venue 10 I reviewed with that nice little snap-in case. So the Pixel C was out for its $650 for the 32-inch, or it's $800 for the 64 gig size. I mean, add the $200 keyboard on top of that, you're looking at $1,000, $850. So I was kind of okay with it being out of stock. I thought it was really cool when we saw the thing on Google going around. I think it was Ron Amadeo showed that cool new feature of the Pixel C. You can stick it to your fridge, and it would get magnets strong enough for it to actually stick to your fridge. I thought that was cool. I would probably do that.
You could get that blue tacky stuff too.
Yeah, I got that as well, but this is magnets. How do those work?
Oh.
But I mean, like, this is a Tegra X1 processor. This is not a slouch device. It has everything I think I would want in a device, and that excellent keyboard style. So I think would be the fact that you could use it like I would like a laptop, right? So I've been having a hard time finding where do I use my tablet anymore, but I don't want to use a laptop. So I think this is a perfect hybrid, right? So.
Well, it's too bad this is something that you'd really want to try.
Yeah, definitely want to try for sure. I mean, I could have just popped on $1,000 on the internet and see if I like it.
Yeah. Okay, so Ryan, you asked
comment.
Oh, sorry.
So
Ryan,
yeah,
you have a comment.
Yeah, I'm like Brian. I definitely want, if possible, I would play with that tablet just to have a feel for it, because I have a tablet here with a keyboard, and the Pixel C is the beefed-up version. And a source that I was listening to earlier on, which will remain anonymous, completely trashed it. They did not like it. Didn't feel it was productive or professional at all.
So was it because it was Android they didn't feel like it, or did it not have the apps, or
it had the apps are there and whatnot. They just felt that a Surface tablet that runs Windows would be better for anybody that's looking for a tablet.
Wow.
But
wow.
Yeah, they kind of trashed it, yeah.
So, I gotta disagree. If you're on docks, and now Android has really good Office support.
Exactly. So I don't know what kind of drugs they were on at that point, but
Just to give another point of view, for me to get something like that would be useless because we use programs that cannot run on Android at our agency, at the travel agency. So we need to use a program that will only work on Windows.
Right. And
so
a lot of things
for me,
like
there's no added value if whatever I can do on my current Nexus 7 or even my phone, which is 6-inch. I just do it on the phone or the small tablet. If I would get something to replace a desktop or a laptop, I would have to get a Windows one.
And I think that's certainly what drove me to Windows the first time around. Because until then, I had like Commodore 64 and stuff like that, Amiga. But it was the idea of wanting to do stuff from home for work. I have no idea why I was thinking that way.
And I'm sure that in many businesses it's the same thing. Unfortunately, they don't make the apps for Android, if they even make it for iOS. But for our travel program, they try to make it for iPads. It doesn't even work well. So it's really just Windows.
And I agree. I mean, most of the businesses are running on Windows, obviously. And now you do have a few more options on Android, such as Citrix. Citrix is available, and a lot of the corporate environment are running Citrix, so you can still run some of your Windows app within your Citrix environment. which could accommodate you, but it's not the best.
Oh,
Obviously.
that doesn't even work that great. I find on my when I go in through Citrix on my home computer, it's like because
Yeah.
of course my stuff is going through the U.S. as well, so it's trundling across the border and then trundling back, and by then it's like I think I'll just go to work.
Yeah, pretty much.
We all use Chrome Remote Desktop. It works the best. It's very fast, actually. So that's our solution for working from on the go if we're on the tablets or phones.
All right.
Oh. Now we're going to move on to, I think we might go a few minutes over this week, but that's okay because you didn't get to see our smiling faces last week.
We owe you.
Yeah. That's right. And we're even going to keep it
literally.
So I thought that was a really interesting poll you had there, Ryan, about what makes a great app. What were the results like?
Yeah, so what sort of prompted it for me was, we saw the Google's best in 2015 app, what were the best apps, what were the best movies, what were the most, Google always does these, in review kind of thing where they talk about, so for the past year, what was really trendy. And if you guys watch that new Google YouTube Rewind video, all the trends and stuff happen. So I asked the question of what do you guys think makes a good app in terms of I try to give it a couple different qualities. So stuff like the design, how does it look? How does it feel to use it? The cost of it is obviously going to play a big factor. Can you invite others to it? Can you share out from it? There's another one. Was it? I can't remember what it was as well. So I'm just trying to find my poll. I should have brought this up obviously earlier. Sorry, guys. Details, activity. Come on, bring it up. My computer's being really, really, really slow. So this is doing this, guys. You guys can. So here we go. So it was cost, design or graphics, right? Ease of use, continued support for the app, fresh content. So it's something that can keep you coming back and again, whether it's a fresh content or whether it's an interesting game you can keep playing every time, and shareability. So we didn't really have too many responses, but let me just go around. What were you guys? What was your top thing? Cass, what would you say your top thing is that you look for in a good?
I need to hear them again.
So we have cost.
Nope.
Design or look.
Mm.
Ease of use, like is it simple to navigate? Continued
Intuitive.
support.
Continued support is a big one for me. And intuitive as well. Like it should fall within, how apps are supposed to work at this point.
Okay. Martin, what would you say your number one thing is that you
Cost.
look about? Cost? And then from then on everything else kind of boils its way down. So from the number one, for people that said number one, their number one thing was their fresh content was the highest response. Actually, well, it's tied between fresh content and ease of use. Were the two tied for the number one position. So fresh content, I can retain their interest in that app again and again, so I keep using it. In second place, again, it was tied between ease of use and the design and the look and the feel of the app. Third place was a clear winner with the design and look of the app. So I think we're looking at, primarily, people are looking at, is it easy to use so it's not complicated? So that's the poll. We've had a few responses, so if you have a chance to fill in your response, we'd love to see it. But yeah, so I just thought, as we reflect back on what makes a great app, what's the biggest apps of the year, what were those factors that you would like to see?
Well, I know for me, I tend to use utilities. I tend to have utilities like Snowball or a new launcher and stuff like that. So really, it is ongoing support, which could also overlap into new content. So,
yeah, it was a hard time coming up with the exact, exact science that came up with these features. These were just kind of made up.
Okay, we had news about Songs of finally folding into Play Music. We knew this was coming. What do you guys think? Ryan, you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, Songs, I know Cassie and I were talking about this as one of the last apps we can use on our computer workstations because it's blocked normally. Everything else is blocked normally, but songs for some reason wasn't. But we've seen the songs that influence into Google Play Music for a while now with the radio stations and these curated music stuff. So we knew eventually, because Google had bought them a while ago, we knew eventually it was going to happen. So right now, if you go to songs, you can still use it, but they're going to start pushing you to Google Play Music, which they're now starting the Google Play Music free radio station, I guess they want to call it, not the all access, but so free radio. So you can have ad-supported playlists played for you, like just like it was songs, but it's through Google Play Music now. Similar to that was the fact that Google's now offering a family subscription, options for Google Play Music All Access and the YouTube Red stuff. So now I can buy Google Play All Access for my whole family, so I don't have to buy a separate account and a subscription for my son, my wife. So Google Play Music, I think, is really coming into its own. It's really becoming a full-fledged music service that I think up to now has been pretty much ignored by most people, but I think it's at the point where you really can't ignore it anymore.
Well, I certainly think that Songza brings in what Play Music needed to sort of set itself apart, because it acts more like Discovery now. You can play new music, you can find different types of music. I don't know, are the genres there? You like very different music than me, Martin. Do you find the genres are there in Play Music now?
It's pretty much an exact copy of what Songza is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty well.
I use it a lot, those radios.
Yeah, I do too.
For shaking your tokus.
Exactly.
Yeah, for Hanukkah. It was good. We enjoyed it. But even at the gym, and they have all the techno music, the dance music, the EDM.
Yeah, so you get this now. It's like, so it's Wednesday night. You want music for working out, Christmas, driving, focusing, just like you would have on songs. It just looks a little different.
And I really like those options on Songza, because sometimes you're just doing something on a Saturday morning and it says it's Saturday morning. What do you want to do?
Just click it.
Yep. And did we talk about YouTube, Brad?
Just in general, we talked about the fact that there are now the family plan options are available. So instead of, I think I'm on the $8 plan for Google Play Music. So now it's $15, and I can buy everybody in the house will have access to that account.
Yep.
But YouTube Red is not available in Canada.
Not yet.
Right now.
It's coming.
That would be great.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Like, that is going to be kind of a competitor for Netflix, isn't it?
Isn't Red just the music service? Because we're talking Google Play.
Oh, is it? Okay.
YouTube Movies is the streaming services, which is the same as Google Play Movies. Because anything you buy in Google Play Movies, you can watch on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and say, what am I watching? Purchase content. I can see the movies. I've seen that. So YouTube itself doesn't provide it. But they're looking at YouTube eventually will say, well, the YouTube Movies section will be essentially your Google Play Movies section. It's just under the same umbrella. But YouTube Red is just the music service through YouTube, which, again, because that's mostly what the guys talk to me at work is like, well, if you want music at work, just put YouTube on. And like, there's so many Vivo channels or whatever, you can just kind of hit play and do that. But it doesn't have the same curatedness that you might want, right? So I just feel bad streaming YouTube instead of. I
always find it interesting what people use YouTube for, because lots of people use it for music, but then a lot of people use it for cooking. Like, my husband gets all his stuff for cooking off of YouTube first, and I'm going, really? And then I was saying it at work, and some other guy goes, yeah, I watch YouTube for cooking.
We use it for gymnastics. My daughter,
I can see using it for gymnastics.
She couldn't get her cartwheel properly. So I said, you know what? Let's check if we can find a video on YouTube. So we found this amazing video, and we followed all the steps, and then she did it perfectly. It was amazing. Like, within half an hour, perfect cartwheel.
See, and that was the idea behind the help out situation, was like, instead of just watching a video, you could actually connect with that YouTuber themselves and ask. But anyways, Pad helpouts kind of went away. But yeah, I mean, it's funny trying to see what you can do with YouTube now, and it's become such a ubiquitous part in our culture, right? Like
you can learn anything on YouTube.
Oh, definitely.
Pretty well.
I learned how to decorate cakes. I learned how to root phones, everything.
Yeah, so I learned how to root phones on YouTube too.
So speaking of YouTube, you guys should go check out the YouTube written review. It's basically the 2015 YouTube review. It's all the trendy movies into one musical with all the YouTubers on the screen. So anyways, check it out if you want to watch it. Just reminds you how, like I said, ubiquitous YouTube is in our daily culture.
It's breadth.
Mm-hmm.
And, speaking of YouTube, I heard they're doing some things with commenting to clean them up. But I read it briefly. I'm not going to talk about it because there's always people that get upset about being told that they're not as welcome as they think they should be. So let's wrap up. We have a bunch of reviews. Why don't you talk about those, Ryan?
So Martin has that Tilt Energy dock that he reviewed recently, the plug-in battery charger.
Nope, that's the road trip.
No, that's the road trip. But isn't the Energy dock from Tilt the plug-in to your house?
I don't have that yet. It's coming up.
Upcoming. So I'll write down upcoming. Sorry, my bad. Upcoming.
Yep.
But I did get that Nomad road trip that you gave me at the NRTO, and I wrote that up, the phallic-looking device.
Yep.
It was. But yeah, pretty cool. I mean, unplug it, plug your phone into it, just take it onto the phone, and out of the car, and it will charge that for you. We had the Nomad road trip, the Gear S2 cast just already talked about, and then the billet aluminum phone stand is coming up as well.
What is that?
Well, I'll pull out what it looks like, and I will share my screen. Give me 1 second. It's interesting.
Meanwhile, he's pulling that up. The Nexus 6P review I should have done by Friday on the site, ready to watch. Holy hell! When you talk about build quality, Cass, about your S2, and you like it, if it wasn't so tall and big, this is nice.
This is what it is.
Looks like a Lego creation.
It's a phone stand or a tablet stand, but the guys over at Billet are sending that to me over. Apparently, it's worth about $189.
That's a very interesting look.
Like I say, it looks like a Lego project.
Or a mechanical set project.
But it should be interesting.
Let me
know if you can unfold it right the first time.
Apparently, it's an easy pop-up thing that just folds itself up and down.
Those things never work for me.
You know how well easy is, right?
We'll see.
Get some kid to open it for you if you can.
Alrighty.
So I guess that's about it. We sort of skipped the intros, but you guys take your time saying goodbye. We can start with Siobhan. Siobhan.
Have a good night. See you next week.
Take care, folks.
Yep. See everybody. Back to writing. I got to finish up this Nexus 6P because they want it back.
Oh, rats.
Yeah, you don't get to keep that one.
We'll see you guys next week, hopefully.
All right, cheers, folks.
All right. Ciao.